I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig.
The conflict between Robert De Niro and Donald Trump has a long history, dating back to when Trump was just a famous businessman and television personality, not a politician. Although their rivalry only became particularly noticeable in 2015, when Trump officially announced his intention to run for president as a Republican, their relationship had actually been deteriorating long before that. De Niro, who has always been an active supporter of the Democrats, expressed doubts about Trump in his early years, saying that he was a kind of elderly teenager who was easily irritated and superficial in his views. However, things became more tense after Trump won the 2016 election and became the 45th president of the United States.
Do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster.
At that time, De Niro, as a fierce opponent of Trump, did not hide his emotions. In numerous interviews and public statements, he did not shy away from calling Trump a monster without any human dignity or redeeming qualities. In one of his more provocative interviews, the actor even shared his fantasy of seeing someone throw a bag of feces in Trump's face. In his words, it would be at least a little bit of deserved retribution for his behavior. De Niro's statements invariably attracted media attention, and the actor himself became increasingly outspoken in his public attacks on the president. In response, Trump, of course, could not remain silent. He often mocked De Niro, calling him a psycho, and constantly adding that the actor was supposedly too old to express such ridiculous opinions.
Bobby, it's your favorite president. I forgive you, Bobby, for being such a loser about the election. It's not your fault you were born with a low IQ. It's not your fault, Bobby. Believe me.
With such open hostility, where every word could spark new arguments, relations between the two celebrities did not improve, but only became increasingly bitter and candid. All of this added fuel to the fire in the American political atmosphere, where every public conflict, especially one involving such major figures as Trump and De Niro, was bound to spark a storm of discussion and speculation in the media.
I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
In one of his statements, Robert De Niro, speaking about Donald Trump's possible return to the White House, made a sharp statement. "I don't want to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do want to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can say goodbye to the freedoms we all take for granted." As always, these words attracted attention and sparked a storm of discussion. De Niro was known for his vocal criticism of Trump, and this time he did not hide his concern about what might happen if Trump were to return to power. The actor stated that, for him, Trump's return to the presidency would pose a threat to the fundamental democratic values that America stands for, such as freedom of speech and civil liberties. He argued that under Trump's leadership, these freedoms could be threatened, which could radically change the social and political atmosphere in the country. De Niro continued his criticism, presenting himself as a typical New Yorker for whom Trump's history of controversial business deals and self-promotion has become a source of ridicule. He mocked Trump's style, claiming that he has always sought personal gain and popularity rather than real improvement for society. According to De Niro, Trump's actions are destroying New York, a city that, for the actor and many others, is a symbol of freedom and openness, and where attempts at self-aggrandizement like Trump's simply could not find resonance. Thus, De Niro not only reiterated his dissatisfaction with Trump's actions, but also emphasized the importance of protecting democratic freedoms in the country, warning of possible negative consequences for America if Trump returns to the presidency. Trump did not remain silent either. And here's what happened.
Truth Social, Robert De Niro, whose acting talents have greatly diminished with his reputation now shot, must even use a teleprompter for his foul and disgusting language. So disrespectful to our country. Now,
in 2011, Donald Trump began spreading the theory that Barack Obama was not born in the United States, making unsubstantiated claims and citing so-called investigators who allegedly found evidence to support this. Trump also claimed that Obama was actually a Muslim, which added even more fuel to the fire of his feud with the president. Trump's statements became very loud and attracted media attention, which could not go unnoticed by Robert De Niro.
the birth certificate was produced in 2011. You continued to tell the story and question the president's legitimacy in 2012, 13, 14, 15, as recently as January. So the question is, what changed your mind?
Well, nobody was pressing it. Nobody was caring much about it. I figured you'd ask the question tonight, of course, but nobody was caring much about it. But I was the one that got him to produce the birth certificate, and I think I did a good job.
At the Tribeca Film Festival in April 2011, when Trump was widely known as the host of the television show The Apprentice, De Niro could not hold back and strongly criticized him. Without naming names, the actor expressed his bewilderment at the statements made by some people who were actively discussing events based on unconfirmed information. I'm not going to name names, but some people in the news over the last couple of weeks just, what are they doing? It's crazy. They're making statements about people that they don't even confirm. Before you say anything about people, get your facts straight, De Niro said, clearly showing that he was annoyed by baseless allegations and manipulation of facts. After his words sparked interest among journalists, De Niro confirmed that his criticism was directed specifically at Trump. This was the first public clash between the actor and the businessman, and although the incident was relatively minor at the time, it became an important moment in their relationship. De Niro clearly expressed his position on how Trump uses media platforms to spread misinformation, and how dangerous this can be for public perception.
He's dangerous. We got to get rid of him.
Do you ever?
Robert De Niro continued his criticism, expressing the opinion that Trump's actions are like a big fuss. He even compared his behavior to that of a car salesman who promises mountains of gold, but cannot back up his words.
This is bulletproof.
I mean, look, in terms of
Don't go out there and say anything unless you can back it up. How dare you? That's terrible. Just go out there and say those awful things? Unless you just want to quit and get a job. It's crazy, De Niro said, clearly condemning Trump's policy of often speaking out on controversial issues without proper evidence or justification. As expected, Trump did not remain silent and responded to the criticism in a telephone interview on Fox and Friends. He said, "I like his acting, but when I watch him give interviews and do various other things, we're not dealing with Albert Einstein." Trump, of course, continued to poke fun at the actor's mental abilities. Not the brightest bulb on the planet. This was yet another jab at De Niro, adding even more fuel to their confrontation.
Yeah, he's so stupid.
The conflict between Robert De Niro and Donald Trump escalated again in the run-up to the 2016 election, when De Niro openly supported Hillary Clinton's candidacy. The actor, who made no secret of his dislike for Trump, continued his colorful attacks on the businessman and future president. In a video that quickly went viral, De Niro vented all his anger at Trump, calling him blatantly stupid. He did not mince his words, saying, "He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, a mutt that doesn't do his homework, he doesn't care, he's an idiot." The actor continued, "Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's a disgrace to this country." These words perfectly conveyed all the anger and disappointment De Niro felt toward Trump and his rhetoric.
But he's a scary one. And in all seriousness, and we know it here, people have to get out and vote and vote and vote and vote.
De Niro reacted particularly strongly to the fact that Trump had managed to achieve such popularity in the country. He openly admitted that he was annoyed by the fact that this country has come to this, that this idiot, this moron, had ended up in such a high position. And of course, the actor added, "He says he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face." These words were quite harsh, but they were not the first or last public statement De Niro made against Trump. That same year, De Niro compared Trump's popularity to the positive coverage his character Travis Bickle received in the film Taxi Driver. Bickle, like Trump, is a character who attracts attention but is, in his context, extremely dangerous and disturbing. This analogy became a vivid example of how the actor perceived Trump's popularity, as something frightening and destructive.
Period. The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary.
However, when Trump unexpectedly won the election, shocking many, De Niro, like many others, found himself in a situation where he had to respond to the result in some way. Shortly after the election, he appeared on Jimmy Kimmel's show, where the comedian asked the actor if he was still willing to punch the president-elect. De Niro despite all his colorful and aggressive statements earlier, replied that he could not do so while Trump was president. "I have to respect that position. I just have to see what he's going to do and how he's going to do certain things," De Niro said. However, this statement was more of a temporary truce than a final reconciliation. It soon became clear that De Niro's feelings toward Trump had not changed, and the actor continued to actively speak out against the president, not ignoring his actions and policies.
I mean, look at the lame, inane things that he said. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever or smooth.
In the same year, De Niro continued his barrage of harsh criticism, calling Trump crazy, a nobody, a fucking idiot, the chief baby, and the chief moron. All of these epithets underscored his perception of Trump as a man who did not deserve respect and was incapable of leading the country in the right direction. De Niro did not shy away from using harsh and even offensive language, which only added fuel to the fire. And in 2019, in an interview on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, De Niro compared Trump's presidency to living in a family where you're abused. He's a fake president. For an actor who has always stood up for his democratic values, this was not just political disagreement, but something much more personal, reflecting his deep disappointment in the presidential administration. However, as expected, the barbs were not a one-way street. Donald Trump, while in the Oval Office, found time to respond to De Niro's criticism. In response to the actor's remarks, he stated,
You and I have something in common. We have both been immortalized on social media by our former president, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We have, I think this might have been the first time he wrote about you. Robert De Niro, a very low IQ individual, has received he spelled two wrong, many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. I watched him last night, truly believe he may be punch drunk. And then he says, at the end, he says, "Wake up, punchy," he says to you.
Their public feud continued, with each of them using their public platforms to mock and aggressively attack each other, making no secret of their contempt and disgust. Most recently, in 2024, Robert De Niro once again lost his temper when Donald Trump was mentioned. On Jimmy Kimmel's talk show, where the actor was a guest to discuss his work, including his new film, the conversation unexpectedly turned to Trump. This is not surprising. De Niro's relationship with Trump has long been a topic that provokes his anger.
Do you think he pretends to be dumber than he is to confuse people and make them think? No, you think he's
no.
The actor once again harshly expressed his opinion of the former president, calling him an idiot and a malignant narcissist. Such vivid and candid epithets were part of a new, more aggressive attack on Trump. De Niro, as before, did not hide his deep disappointment and contempt for Trump, characterizing him not only as an incompetent leader, but also as a person with a dangerous, selfish personality.
I just don't know. It's all an act in a certain way. It's all out of insecurity. He's deeply, deeply insecure. He is a malignant narcissist. He's a socio-psychopath. He's created some new language as far as describing somebody in his mental condition.
Jimmy Kimmel, like Robert De Niro, did not stay out of the conflict with Donald Trump. Shortly after Kimmel hosted the 2024 Academy Awards, his performance caught the attention of Trump, who did not hesitate to express his dissatisfaction with Kimmel's jokes and comments about the former president. Trump, as usual, couldn't hold back on social media, making harsh comments about the host. However, Kimmel, known for his sharp tongue and sense of humor, couldn't let it go. That same evening, during a live broadcast, the host decided to respond to Trump, interrupting part of the program. Kimmel, with his characteristic ironic delivery, expressed his dissatisfaction and sharply condemned the president for his comments, adding that Trump too often speaks without any sense of responsibility, and that this has become commonplace.
I'm sure he did do it to be funny and to make everyone who doesn't like him mad. But what he seems to keep forgetting is he's the president of the United States. Doing funny things that make people mad isn't his job. It's my job.
This social media and television spat has become part of a broader and ongoing feud, with public figures such as Kimmel and De Niro actively engaging in verbal battles with Trump. The escalation of such conflicts in the run-up to the election and amid growing political tensions has attracted a lot of attention, highlighting how important it is for prominent figures in the U.S. to speak out openly about politics, especially when it comes to such controversial and colorful personalities as Trump. Jimmy Kimmel has always used his show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, as a platform for political satire, and Donald Trump has been one of his favorite targets. Kimmel makes no secret of his contempt for the former president, and his monologues about Trump have become real events. One of Kimmel's most popular themes is mocking Trump as a stupid president. In his shows, he regularly highlights Trump's absurd and meaningless statements, creating an image of a man who, in his opinion, is completely unprepared for such an important role. Kimmel's jokes on this topic sound as if Trump is like your crazy uncle who became president. This concept has become almost a hallmark of his criticism. Kimmel also never misses an opportunity to mock Trump for his love of show business. He jokes that the former president could run the country the same way he ran his television show, The Apprentice, ignoring real issues and turning politics into an entertaining show. The idea that Trump is more of an actor than a politician often comes up in his monologues.
And how far we've come. They were having a lot of fun with AI at the White House over the weekend. Did you see the picture of Trump as the Pope? On Friday, MAGA Teresa posted this photo of himself as the new Pope, Pope Banana Cream Pious.
Trump's physical characteristics are not overlooked either. Kimmel likes to joke about his bright orange skin and strange hairstyle, comparing him to cartoon characters or even an alien. These jokes always resonate with viewers, bringing a lighthearted touch to criticism of the president and making it more accessible and entertaining. Jokes about his wife are also common.
But this is real. This is a photo from Donald and Melania's wedding. She's the one. He's on the right.
When Trump posted another tweet, especially if it contained absurd or inappropriate statements, Kimmel immediately responded on air. He repeatedly said that such tweets only confirmed how great America was with such a president. In his responses to Trump's tweets, Kimmel always sarcastically emphasized the absurdity of the situation, demonstrating how difficult it was to take Trump's actions and statements seriously. Kimmel's jokes became particularly sharp when it came to the pandemic and Trump's response to COVID-19.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well.
The host actively mocked the president's proposals to downplay the seriousness of the situation and suggest dangerous, unproven treatments. Kimmel sarcastically pointed out that if it weren't for Trump, the pandemic could have been much easier for the country. Kimmel also addressed Trump's controversial idea of building a Mexican wall. This promise, which has become a symbol of division in the country, did not go unnoticed. Kimmel often mocked Trump's attempts to create a barrier between neighboring countries, while the very idea of a wall seemed like a political stunt rather than a real solution to the problem. All of Jimmy Kimmel's jokes create a vivid and witty critique of Trump. This is not just political satire, but a way of expressing dissatisfaction and surprise at the actions of a man who, in Kimmel's opinion, should not have been in power. Jimmy Kimmel's jokes, like Robert De Niro's harsh statements, have become an important part of the public debate surrounding Donald Trump. Despite all the irony and sarcasm, their criticism reflects serious dissatisfaction with the former president's actions. Kimmel and De Niro's humor is not just entertainment, but a way to express protest and draw attention to important issues. These public statements help viewers not only laugh, but also think about the political situation in the country. Moreover, such moments remind us how important it is not to remain indifferent to those in power, and how even the boldest jokes can have a powerful influence on public opinion.
I just want to make a note of apology for the idiotic behavior of my president.